I barely even look at the Wolf chart. I don't look at it every day. Well, I do, because I'm a trader. But I don't analyze it every day. I keep a very simple frame of logic, which is that we've had the first wave, and we've had a lengthy consolidation, and we're in the second wave. And I think that that's going to go higher, and then there'll be some kind of third wave, and then it'll be over. Right? And this isn't drawn to scale. I'm not predicting price. But my goal with Wolf is I bought here just before it broke out of the first wave, and I don't really care what it does. I'm just going to sit on it. And it's 1% of my portfolio. I sold 1% of my Bitcoin to get into Wolf. So I don't care what happens to it. I obviously don't want to lose money, but I'm also not looking at every 1 hour candle thinking, oh my God, it's bad. Oh my God, it's good. Oh my God, big pump. Oh my God. I don't give a fucking single fuck. I don't give a shit. Neither should you. Because this is how markets move. If you're overanalyzing low time frames on meme coins, unless you're a day trader of meme coins, you're going to get wrecked. And it's not about memes. Every coin is the same. Everything that's not Bitcoin is just a meme anyway. So a smart trader will understand that they're late and treat it as such. So an example of this would be Chill Guy. I was super late into Chill Guy on the first wave and I made money. Why? Because I identified, first of all, that this thing ran up to 200 mil market cap with no pullback. So that was abnormally strong. And I thought there's a good chance it goes to 500 million. And it did. And then it came back and it held and it went higher. But at this point, I realized that Chill Guy has had no pullback. There hasn't been any deep correction yet. And if I made money by being late, that means when you go to a daily chart, I'm not actually early to this phase. I can definitely be early to the overall, because Chill Guy might end up going to 5 billion. But the only way that's going to happen is if it destroys people in chop first. And it goes higher and it goes lower and it chops around, it goes higher and it goes lower and then it goes really high. And if you look back in the future, anyone who bought it at 200 mil to 500 mil will have a 10x. Right? But in between, it'll probably go down to 180. It'll probably go down to 100. It's going to test those people. And I only know this through experience. The fact that I could buy 200 mil market cap on something that never pulled back and get into profit a few days later, I said it in the Prof Journal. This is retard mode. This is like retard level easy mode. But easy mode doesn't mean it's easy. Because sure as anything, because nobody has been tested below 200, nobody who bought below 200 million has ever been tested on this. There has been literally no pullback. So it's probably going to go down to 150. To test those people. It's a shakeout. To get rid of the weak hands. And then it can go way, way, way higher. And maybe it goes way higher first. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe this is a new paradigm. But I don't bet on new paradigms. So, an even smarter person will know, they'll know it's too high trying to trade it for 2 or 3 weeks at a time, and that it's going to lead you into chasing. So, it's not about being able to predict that Chill Guy is going to be a 5 billion coin. It's about understanding where you are in the information cycle and where you are in the narrative cycle and where you are in the price cycle. So it's not that you can't do it, meaning trade stuff for a few weeks at a time. But if you are going to do it, you need to have a clear process, a clear framework. So first of all, should you own altcoins at all if Bitcoin's in a dominance run? Well, it's not necessarily been wrong to hold some alts in the last 2 years, but how many alts have actually outperformed Bitcoin? Very few. Because when you look at Bitcoin dominance, and this is the chart you should all have if you're going to be trying to trade this cycle. How many coins have actually outperformed Bitcoin? Not many. Certainly not for the whole time. That's why Bitcoin dominance is up like this. Solana did well, yeah. Ethereum didn't. And the majority of alts haven't. The majority of alts against Bitcoin since 2022. Let's look at like ADA, right? So since the end of 2022, since the market bottom, in FTX crash 2022 November here. So even though Cardano's, oh my god, it's pumping, the Cardano's back. No, it's not. Bitcoin's crushed it for 2 years and it's having a little bounce. Well done. You're still worse off holding it for 2 years than if you held Bitcoin. So unless you're a genius 4-week rotation trader, which is the hardest thing to do, unless you're that person, you've been wrong to hold Cardano. You've been wrong to hold Avalanche. Because again, from the market bottom, even on the pump in early 20 or late 2023, it only reached back to its FTX levels and it's all the way back down. So again, unless you can time the 5-week rotation into AVAX, you're underperforming. You're wrong on basically everything. Even Sol, people talk about Sol as being this great trade and this great cycle trade. But was it really? Sol was better than Bitcoin for 12 weeks. And then everybody accepted Sol's better than Bitcoin. And for the last 9 months, Sol has not been better than Bitcoin. It's been about equal, so it actually hasn't depreciated massively against Bitcoin. But it's not outperformed. So how many people tell you now that Sol's the best thing since sliced bread? Well, if they were in from here, or bullish on from here, they're okay. They're doing well. If they've formed this thesis through here, they're not doing so well. Which is why when I've talked about Sol and the potential for Sol to go to 500 or 750 or 1,000 or whatever, it has to first break out. It has to actually show, okay, all the people who bought and held here, they're right. Now they can get rewarded. If not, it's going to go the way of every other coin against Bitcoin. It's going to bleed. And it won't mean Sol won't go up in USD terms. It will. But Bitcoin will go up more. And then probably, when Bitcoin stops, Sol will have a big run, but that big run might just be that. That could be the future of Sol for the rest of the cycle. And you look at this and think, oh my god, that's so bad for Sol. No, it's bad for Sol versus Bitcoin. This run could see Sol going to $600. But if Bitcoin is at 250k, risk adjusted, it's not that great of a bet. You have to factor all this in. ETH done it last cycle. Everyone thinks that ETH was better than Bitcoin last cycle. No, it wasn't. ETH was better than Bitcoin last cycle if you managed to get in before pretty much March, April. Then you got a bit of outperformance. If you got into ETH in the bear market, phase 1, yeah. If you get into ETH early in phase 2, yeah, you did all right. If you get into ETH anywhere in the second half of the cycle, don't forget, phase 3, last cycle, phase 3 was May until November. If you were choosing ETH over Bitcoin there, all you were doing was setting yourself up for what all these ETH holders have felt for the last 3 years. Because most people, even crypto natives, who abandoned Bitcoin for ETH, kept their whole portfolio in ETH throughout the bear market and just said, well, I'm used to it. It's going to be an 80% drawdown, but I'm going to DCA more and buy more and it's all going to come back and ETH's going to crush it. And ETH hasn't crushed it. So they've been fucked since the end of the bull market last cycle and they're still fucked. And now, if ETH goes to 10k, it only retraces back to where it was in 2021. So anyone who's held it cycle over cycle is not even up. They got their magical 10k ETH and they made no money. They made no actual money. They made no relative returns. They made some shitty fiat, but they didn't outperform. They didn't outperform the king. So, Bitcoin dominance. If Bitcoin dominance is in an uptrend, then go long Bitcoin when pumping and go short altcoins when dumping. I'm not telling anybody to go short, but if you're a shorter term trader, right, and you trade both ways, then here's a simple thing. If Bitcoin dominance is trending up on a weekly basis, then your swing trades, your higher time frame trades, should be long Bitcoin, which is why you should have Bitcoin in your portfolio. And if there's going to be a market-wide pullback, let's say, for you spot signs of whatever, some kind of top, like we saw in March, well, then, if you saw the top in March of 2024, isn't it much better to short an altcoin like Avalanche, which went down 73%, versus shorting Bitcoin, which went down 30%? Yes. And the reason for that is very simple. You do not fucking short Bitcoin on a high time frame basis if Bitcoin is in a dominance run. You don't short Bitcoin anyway on a high time frame basis. Bitcoin's great for day trading as well as holding because it's got the best market structure. But if you're trying to trade things, the time to be long alts is when Bitcoin dominance is in a downtrend. And then this all scales. So if you're looking at individual trades, if you're looking at these rotations like we've seen many of them. If you're looking at a period of about 4 or 5 days, when Bitcoin dominance is downtrending and the bands are red on the 4 hour, that's a time to be long alts because they're outperforming. And if Bitcoin dominance is in a bigger downtrend, which it barely has had, but you have had a couple, where Bitcoin dominance, the bands go red in 17th of April until May, that's a time to be long alts only if the alt is going up. So this period here was not a period where you can just long any altcoin. I'll show you a good example. That was not a period where you could long Sol, because Sol at that same time was not outperforming. So Sol from April going into May was not doing that well. It had a bounce, but it wasn't doing that well. In this period here, 16th of April, right over here, until what? The 3rd of May. That was Sol in that same time frame. Even though Bitcoin dominance was down, Sol didn't do well. But at that time, Pepe was great. Pepe from that April into May period had an incredible run. So Pepe from here, stone cold bottom, all the way up on that Bitcoin dominance run to, well, it went to there initially, and then Pepe continued all the way to the highs. So if something is trending up, if something has positive upwards market structure, such as Pepe making these higher highs and higher lows, while Solana wasn't, then that's a better option to be in for that period. If Bitcoin dominance is not trending up, if it's trending down, you can rotate. So if Bitcoin dominance is in a downtrend, then go long altcoins in uptrends and buy pullbacks on altcoins, not Bitcoin. Meaning, very simple, dominance chart is going to look the exact same as any chart would. If Bitcoin is in a downtrend here and it's red bands, when it pulls back into the bands, that's a bearish retest. And that is an altcoin dip buy opportunity. That's an altcoin dip buy opportunity. Because Bitcoin dominance is still going down. So if it's going to then go lower, that means alts are going to go higher. In a bull market, of course. And you could possibly short Bitcoin if it's in a dominance downtrend, but that would just be either a day trade, which is part of your system anyway, or just a bad idea. Because when these altcoin rallies end and you see the biggest spikes of Bitcoin dominance, that's also when the whole market goes down. Bitcoin dominance has some of its biggest spikes when the market is crashing. So here, this was not a good time to be long anything. That was when we had the crash over the weekend in April when there was a Iran-Israel attack. So everything got crushed. Just Bitcoin got crushed less. So it's important to identify, are we in an uptrend overall? So, if you're a day trader, simple logic, or a short-term trader, right? If you're a short-term trader, your simple logic is when you see, let's say, the 1 hour bands, right? If the 1 hour bands, like BTC was here in Tuesday, and they cross red, and you go into a 1 hour, very low time frame, 1 hour downtrend, that's when alts are going to outperform. You're looking here from Tuesday until now, just 2 days. Again, we're talking low time frame. Well, when you have that 2-day period of Bitcoin dominance going down, what happens to BTC? What happens to BTC is this. BTC from those 2 days went like this. You have Tuesday until Thursday, right? So Tuesday, Bitcoin goes down, and then it has a bounce. But at the same period, there's a bunch of altcoins, ETH being the primary one, which in that 2-day period, Tuesday until Thursday, has had a big uptrend. You know this because Bitcoin dominance is in a low time frame downtrend. Then you have a medium time frame downtrend, where you're looking at like a 6-hour or a 12-hour or whatever. And you see signs of, let's say, just use market structure principles and the bands or whatever. You see Bitcoin dominance after having a run. That's who you want to be long Bitcoin. And then it breaks structure, bands go red. You get a few days between Thursday and Sunday where altcoins really rip. So Thursday of last week until Sunday, very classic. We saw all these altcoin pumps, and you see stuff like this, like Celestia. Thursday until Sunday. That was what Celestia did. Where was it? Thursday. What was it? Thursday the 6th until Sunday. No, sorry, that was this week. What was pumping last week? Doge. Here we go. Thursday until Sunday, Bitcoin dominance went down for 4 or 5 days, which allowed altcoins that had good charts, Thursday until Sunday, to rally. Well, that went on until about Monday, but you get the idea. Oh, how do you want to identify this? Well, if Bitcoin, simple logic, keep the same time frame, right? Keep the same time frame. If Bitcoin dominance has broken structure and is trending down and the bands are red on a 6-hour time frame, then Dogecoin has had an impulse candle and a consolidation and is breaking out in a 6-hour uptrend, then you expect that one to outperform Bitcoin until such times as Bitcoin dominance reclaims its bands. And let me just wipe all this shit off. Right? So, your early identification is the big red candle here. So as soon as Bitcoin has that big dominance decrease, at midnight on Thursday the 7th, that's when you should be looking at which altcoins are the best. Thursday the 7th at midnight, which is here. Now you're looking at Doge, and you're saying, okay, Bitcoin dominance has just nuked on a low time frame. Dogecoin has just broken out, so it's made a higher high, I should say, after having positive trending structure, and it's just had a breakout. And while Bitcoin dominance nuked down, Dogecoin didn't move and is holding at its bands. It then has a break of structure and breaks out, and then it has this big run. Where's the absolute top in Dogecoin? It's here. What happens at the absolute top on Dogecoin? Bitcoin dominance has just reclaimed its own bands. That's literally the candle which flipped Bitcoin dominance back green. And that was the exact top on Doge. Now this does not give you license to long any altcoin, which is why I'm saying these rotations are not simple because, oh shit, I've gone the wrong way. Because while Bitcoin dominance did that, and on that push, Dogecoin did really well, at that same time, Celestia, which has done well since, was not doing the same. So 7th of November to the 7th of November, here. And at the same period, Celestia went up, but it wasn't time yet. How could you have identified that? It wasn't breaking out of anything. So if you're taking Celestia at that time and Dogecoin at that time, Celestia had an opportunity to break out, and I was trying to get long on it because of the short squeeze. You know, I was tracking at that point. It was just too early. Celestia, higher highs, higher lows forming. It had to do a little bit more consolidation. Then the next time the Bitcoin dominance goes down, you see Celestia going up. And it's the same exact thing on the 23rd of November, Saturday. That is when Bitcoin dominance over here, again, after having the big move down, and on the 23rd of November, the bands go red. Bitcoin dominance bands go red. Celestia is consolidating above its bands. And if you bought this breakout, this BOS, Celestia rips to new highs. And that was that long I took last weekend. And we were talking about Bitcoin dominance going into the weekend, going down. Celestia goes up a lot. When will Celestia finish its uptrend? Well, probably whenever Bitcoin reclaims its own 6-hour trend, bands again, you'll probably see Celestia has had some kind of top. And that's when you're out of that one and back into Bitcoin. Now, you should not try and do this if you're not already like a purple belt and you haven't built systems and you don't understand trading, understand having trading systems and approaches and all that. This is the shorter term rotation game. This is not a goal for you to try and have to do. I want to be really clear about this. This is going to keep happening for the next year. So if you're in white belt or blue belt, or this is confusing, or you're still developing your systems, don't worry. Have most of your money, the majority of it, in your coins of choice for the cycle, like I said. And 6 months from now, this exact same thing is going to be happening. There's always going to be opportunities for Bitcoin dominance rotations into altcoins. Now, I'm going to give you all a fucking little extra boost of alpha here. This is not a bull market exclusive phenomenon. So now I will talk about Ethereum beta, Solana beta, base memes, and all of that. Right. Once you see Bitcoin dominance in a trend down, you need to decide what's going to be the dominant narrative. This is something that's going to come with time as a trader. It's going to take you time to identify this. So, give me a second to get a drink, because this is going to be a long one. Okay, we're back. All right. Next. Let me get a snooze in. All right. Before the next part of the rant comes, let me jump back in. I haven't even got to the coins, man. Oh, man. It's going to be fun. All right. GM. I saw something at the start of the stream. Who posted it? Didn't someone post all the coins? Which, by the way, is Super G. Who did it? I saw it at the start of the stream. Did somebody not post all the coins that had 10 votes on them? Maybe it is all the way back. Because I've been streaming now for streaming for an hour and a half already. Okay. Where is it? Here we go. Mustafa, you're a fucking G. So now I don't need to go through the coins. I'm going to trust you on this, which I have no reason not to. I'm going to post this here. So I just know. Let me see. There we go. Super G. All right. There's no point asking for more coins, guys. It's already closed. I'm just taking a quick breather from the rant, and then we'll get back into another rant. This is way better than all kind of requests. I told you, new and improved. Mixer, I've no idea why Michael spends so much time giving all this free info when he could be chilling. I know, but I don't like chilling. And I like providing value. It gets addictive. All right. Tom Legend. I know you mentioned that yesterday, I think it was. Good stuff. G. Okay. Now. Understanding the narrative of markets. One of the ways you can do this is by listening to me, but I'm not always going to be right. But I do have a pretty good handle on what's driving the market at any one time. Through a combination of experience, the people I know, people I speak to. I've got a really good network, of course. I know many traders, many crypto whales, many OGs, all of that. And I just keep a good pulse on the market. You can develop this throughout time, but I want to make you understand something, especially if you are a white belt or a blue belt and you're feeling FOMO about, oh my God, am I going to miss out on the chance to make money? There are always opportunities to make money in crypto, even in bear markets. One of the things you must understand is rotations and what's going to be the dominant narrative in a rotation. So, if we go back and look at the market total market cap, back in 2022, this is deep bear market, right? This is dog shit bear market, total trash. And you'll see what happened here was, let me go to a 3-day chart for this one. No, let me go to a 1-day chart. Deep bear market, right? So if you're wondering, oh my God, but what if I'm not a good trader before it becomes a bear market? Guess what? You'll still make shitloads of money if you're smart. You should trade a lot less in bear markets. You should definitely be selective with your positioning. But you need to also understand that some of the biggest rallies come in bear markets because of short squeezes and because of over positioning to the downside. So in 2022, Luna collapsed. This was Luna collapsing and 3 Hours Capital getting liquidated and all of that. What happened there was a massive spike of Bitcoin dominance. So big Bitcoin dominance runs in a bear market coincide with really strong sell-offs, really strong liquidations, really bearish phases, right? Super rough downside, very aggressive leverage and panic. Leverage liquidations and panic, okay? So let me just put this in blue. These are meant to be just neutral, okay? So when the Bitcoin dominance started to drop after this major crash, you would see this. So what happens when Bitcoin dominance flips into a downtrend on the, so it obviously breaks structure on the 15th of June, right? Bitcoin dominance goes into a downtrend 15th of June. The bands go red, confirmed red on about the 17th of June. Over here, the 15th of June was there, and the 17th of June was here. 18th, same thing. This is where the total market cap bottomed out. In a bear market, bottomed. When Bitcoin dominance topped. Because Bitcoin dominance rises the most in a bear market when everything's getting crushed. Because people sell their altcoins first, and they rotate into Bitcoin or into cash. It's never anything else. When there's a panic, when there's a crash, two things will happen. People will want cash. Those are fiat-minded people. And other people who have a long-term bullish view on Bitcoin, they will rotate aggressively into Bitcoin. Because they know the market can keep going down, but this is an opportunity to get cheap Bitcoin for the long term. So crypto natives will rotate back into Bitcoin, and fiat maxis will rotate back into dollars. The risk of being a fiat maxi, of course, is that the market's going to bounce. And Bitcoin will go up and so will everything else. And then the fiat maxi, even though they went full fiat at the bottom, well, they're panicking then because then the market bounces 30%. But what's the best thing to hold while Bitcoin dominance is going all the way through here? So between the 17th of June and the, let's call it the 14th of September, when Bitcoin dominance goes back into an uptrend, what's the best thing you could hold throughout this period? This is where a bit of market knowledge comes in. Any of you that were around at the time will remember that it was the Ethereum merge. This was the single biggest technological advancement that Ethereum has ever made. For the worse, in my opinion. Well, for the worse if Ethereum's trying to be Bitcoin, which is not, and they should move away from that. Because Ethereum went away from proof of work and went to proof of stake. That makes it vastly inferior as a store of value as Bitcoin, but gives it many benefits in terms of its scalability and its future potential as a smart contract platform. So, this was well known. The Ethereum merge was scheduled for the 14th of September, I believe, was the exact date of the Ethereum merge happening. And so in this period here, from the moment Bitcoin dominance went red, altcoins, let's say from the daily open of the 17th, which is when you had that confirmation, the whole market, I should say, went up 36% to the next peak. Bit of a drawdown, bit of sideways, then a rally. At the same time, that's the whole market. If you look at total 2, which excludes Bitcoin, total 2 in the same period from the 17th of June, total 2 from the 17th of June on the open, went up 48%. That's outperformance. That's why Bitcoin dominance going down will mean that total 2 and total 3 do better. Because that excludes Bitcoin. Because Bitcoin dominance is decreasing. So you go to total 2, that was 48%. Total 3 at the same time, which is your more volatile altcoins, at the same time from the 17th of June, went up only 31%. Reason for that is because, of course, like I said, this was an ETH-led rally. So you would have known this if your finger's on the pulse and you're looking at Ethereum, because it's the Ethereum merge. And this is where people started to position for the Ethereum merge. And Ethereum went up 90% from that daily close. And it was 100% from the bottom. It doubled off the lows, more than doubled. But from that close, where you had the confirmation of Bitcoin dominance decrease, Ethereum was up 90% in the next, 2 months. Okay? Now, you can either choose, if you know that the narrative is Ethereum, which was, trust me, by the time next bear market comes, you'll know this too. It was super clear that it was Ethereum because it was all about the Ethereum merge. It was the only thing. And you need to also understand, people want exit liquidity for their bags, so they want the market to pump. These are just lower highs, right? This is not a bull market. This is a bear market. But there's a dominant narrative. There's always a dominant narrative. And the dominant narrative at this point was Ethereum because of the merge. So if you're a trader, you're either looking to get long Ethereum or you're looking to get long Ethereum beta. And again, beta is just an asset that is more volatile than the underlying. So it has to be related to Ethereum. It has to be correlated to Ethereum. And it has to also have a narrative that ties in with the Ethereum run. A good coin at this point was Lido. And so Ethereum went up 90%. But if you chose Ethereum, you did well. You crushed it. If you chose Lido, you would have done even better. Because Lido from the 17th of June, which was here, to its peak, went up 6x. In a bear market. 6x. 7x, I should say. 600%. And of course, if you exclude that wick, up to here, 5x. 6x. Right? So there are ample opportunities, even in bear markets. You just have to be way more selective if you're a long-only trader. Because there's long periods of underperformance. But the biggest rallies, 3-4x rallies, doubling in a week, going 5x in a bear market. These sharp rallies happen in shorter space of time in bear markets. So, the way to then actually play this, if you want to be better with your timing, you don't have to buy anything on the 17th of June. On the 17th of June, that's when Bitcoin goes into downtrend. Dominance. At that point, you know Ethereum's going to be the dominant narrative if we rally. But you don't know that we're going to rally because it's still bearish. Right? ETH at this time, let's go back and we're now looking at ETH. You now understand why we chose ETH, right? So you're now looking at ETH over here. And on the 17th of June, ETH bands are still completely bearish. ETH is just going into the process of bottoming out. So as a trader, you could look at that and say, okay, this could be the bottom, but bands are red. Retest them, high or low. Retest again, high or low. So what is this? FTR. Simple reversal patterns. That's where you make a low and then you make a higher low. So at this point, you could be starting to maybe scale into some ETH. Or you could just be saying, okay, ETH is probably going to be stronger. You want another sign of this. You can look at the relative strength then of ETH versus Bitcoin. And these are daily candles. There's no rush. You have so much time. People don't think that, but you have so much time. At the same point, Bitcoin was doing something roughly similar. So here, you've got Ethereum bottoming out, higher low, higher low. You've got Bitcoin bottoming out, higher low, higher low. So it's not blindingly obvious here that Ethereum is going to outperform. That comes later when Bitcoin has its weak rally and Ethereum has a strong rally. But at the moment, at this point, you're on the fence. But if you go back then and you're looking at Ethereum, You're looking at Ethereum versus Lido because you've identified Lido as your beta asset, which again, it might not seem obvious to you now, but back then you'd know if your finger's on the pulse, Lido was one of the main Ethereum coins at that time. There's others, but we're just taking Lido as an example. And we're going back here and we're looking at this. As a trader with an entry trigger, you're just waiting for a BOS, a break of structure, and the band's going green. So when Ethereum breaks out here and the bands go green, Lido, a couple of days later, or actually earlier, Lido had broken out and the bands went green. So now you've got Bitcoin dominance in a downtrend in a bear market. That means you're going to have some kind of rally. That's probably going to be a counter trend rally. You know that Ethereum is probably going to be the leader because and again, if you don't remember this or you went around, trust me, the only thing that anybody was even remotely talking about was the Ethereum merge coming up. This was known 8 months ahead of time, which is also important because a lot of people would have got long Ethereum all the way through the downtrend because they're like, the merge is coming, the merge is coming, the merge is coming. But it was a bear market. You can't beat the bear market. It was still going to go down. Luna was still collapsing. Celsius was still getting liquidated. 3 Arrows Capital was still going to zero. So you don't have to scale in too early, which you wouldn't, because you're looking at just something simple like the daily bands. No reason to buy Ethereum here. No reason to buy it here. No reason to buy it here. No reason to buy it here. It's bearish. The moment it gets bullish, your choice now becomes, do I want Ethereum or do I want an Ethereum beta? And when you see something outperforming Ethereum, when Ethereum's the dominant narrative, that's a sign that this coin has more potential. And so, what happens? Ethereum rips. But Lido rips more. And then it's very simple. You're looking at hold Lido until you see Lido's structure break, which is over here, or you wait for the bands to go red. Any of those three triggers would tell you that that move's done. But let's be honest, this exhaustion candle, for anybody, should know that is a clear sign of a top. So if you were in from here, you'd at least be scaling out here, maybe half. And then you'd be exiting fully over here. So you're in and you're out and you make money in a bear market. And Ethereum dominates that rally. It goes 90%, but Lido at the same time, even if you get in after the bands are green and once Ethereum is bullish, Lido went up 3x or at worst 2.5x from there in a bear market. When do you abandon that whole idea? Bitcoin dominance. So you go back to Bitcoin dominance and you look at this. Bitcoin dominance over here in 2022. And you go and look at where did the Bitcoin dominance reversal happen? Here. This big pump was your first sign of Bitcoin dominance. And then the band's green over here. 14th of September, 15th of September, you're fully out. So by this point over here, you should have no indication or no desire to be in any altcoin because Bitcoin dominance is back and the altcoin, by the way, was already clearly topped. Clearly. And if you're in Ethereum, you don't need to wait for Bitcoin dominance to flip back. Bitcoin dominance flipping back is your definite get out sign. But the charts will tell you before that. If you waited till the 15th of September for Ethereum, it's over there. But if you looked at market structure, you'd see Ethereum's last pump fails. It breaks structure here. Bands go red here in August. You would have been out way before that. Yeah? And the idea of trading is not to catch the bottom, not to catch the top. You're not trying to catch this bit. You can try if you want. You're not trying to catch that bit. You can try if you want. You're trying to catch the meat in the middle. That's the essence of trading. These are the high probability setups. These are reversal areas for people who trade reversals. That's a different style of trading. Reversal trade, follow the trend, reversal trade. And then you're out and you're done. Now, asset selection is super important because when you saw this Bitcoin dominance reversal happening, you could have also looked at the second best chain behind Ethereum. Bitcoin's obviously number one, but we're talking smart contract chains. Second best chain, which is Solana. And Solana, at the same time, did fuck all. Solana had this measly pump where it bottomed at the same time, it chopped around and went up, but it didn't outperform. Why? Because the narrative had nothing to do with Solana. The narrative was all about Ethereum. Now, fast forward to 2023. Whenever Bitcoin dominance, which really Bitcoin dominance didn't have any major weakness, but when you saw Bitcoin dominance having some reversals, you saw Solana really doing well, right? So by the time you see some weakness in Bitcoin dominance, let's go on a weekly chart for this one, probably more of a higher time frame view. No, sorry, daily charts. Daily charts are fine. All right, so Bitcoin dominance up all the way. So in all of this period here, from the lows in December all the way to this peak, Bitcoin was the asset to be in. That is all of this. That's the lows of November, December 2022, all the way until that peak over here. So in this period, Bitcoin dominance was rising. That means Bitcoin is the best overall. That means every other alt is going to get crushed. And if you see anything that is showing abnormal strength, such as Solana breaking out here, breaking out here, breaking out again, and you see Solana with this big rally, and then you see Bitcoin dominance coming into a peak and starting to break structures, you could have seen it over here on a lower time frame. You could have seen it here with this reversal at the highs. That's when Solana has its nice last big push. But if you're watching the market, you'll understand, and again, if you're on top of the narratives, this was all about Solana's massive liquidation, FTX collapse, Alameda Research, rugging the whole industry, and especially seeing this part at the lows. If you remember me talking about this, Galaxy were selling a bunch of Solana. There was a massive unlock of Solana to be sold at these lows, and price couldn't go lower. And Solana started to show strength. It started to move up. It broke out. It was showing abnormal strength in this period here. And so you know Bitcoin dominance is still rising. So Bitcoin's still the king overall. But if you see Sol having this breakout, and these are daily candles. These are not things that you have to have super fast reaction times for. These are big trends. These are multi-week, multi-month trends. And you know Bitcoin dominance is strong, but you see Solana performing abnormally strong. You look at others like Ethereum. These are your two dominant altcoins. And at the same point, we're looking over here, you see at this period here, Solana has broken above its July highs. Ethereum has not even got to its April highs or its July highs. Right? It's here. So let me clear this up again, just to make it really clear. When Ethereum was here in November of last year, Solana was here. What's that? That's outperformance. That's relative strength. So just like Ethereum dominated the merge narrative in 2022, Solana was set up to dominate some narrative of its own. The narrative of Solana here was really the revival, coming back from the dead. From being a hated asset and absolutely crushed to being just essentially a comeback. And you would have known that by saying, okay, yeah, ETH up, and ETH did well, ETH kept going up, but Solana was much better, much stronger, much more dominant. And again, you can also look at this. So now, when you've gotten this dialed in, and you know Bitcoin dominance has had a big run and it's slowing down, and you know that Solana has got relative outperformance because it's made new highs while Ethereum hasn't, then you look at the Sol ETH chart. So if you look at the Sol ETH chart in October, November, you look at Sol versus Ethereum in October and November of 2023, this is what you see. Here's October, November. So throughout this period, where Solana was just consolidating above the highs and Ethereum was trying to grind higher, what was Sol ETH doing? Uptrend. So at this period, this where you use your general market structure principles, Sol ETH had broken out of its bear market range. Sol ETH was trending up. That means Sol is stronger than ETH. That means your choice becomes Sol or Sol beta. Because if Solana is rising, traders will look at levered bets on Solana. Not with leverage, but with altcoins. They're going to look for more volatile coins that are on Solana, which can outperform Solana itself. And so then you're looking at, okay, now I've shown you Bitcoin dominance is cooling off, so we want to be in either Sol or ETH. We've identified that Sol is stronger than ETH, so you can either just choose Sol or you can choose a Sol beta. That's where you then have your ear to the ground about what's the trend. At that time, the trend was airdrops. Two things, airdrops and